Let me clear my throat. Ayy. Alright. You know what happened? I'm actually sitting here talking to myself on IG because I'm thinking that it's live and it's not, and I forgot to hit the button. But that shows you where I'm at some days these days. Anyway, such is life. So, get my water. That's the clearing up the throat of a manly man. All right, let's get into it, man. Let's start this. Damn, this is the Mariangana Show, where we primarily talk about relationship issues, but also it's about doing something greater than what we once did before. It's about speaking with our African brothers and sisters, connecting us together as far as us Black Americans. We see everything that's going on, and we see there's so much division, but it's all orchestrated. Gotta stop doing what I'm doing before the show. It's all orchestrated. Understand? There's been so much media presented to Africa, so much media presented to America, Black America, to keep us separated in these days and time. But right here, right now, is where we learn how to maneuver and work through that in order to build together and bridge the gap that's been placed before us. That's what it's about here. This channel, oh, you know what? Damn. I forgot one thing. Give me a second. Alright, let's see if we get this right. Alright, there we go. I messed up, man. My apologies. Because I actually was supposed to be broadcasting on 3 different networks. And let me make sure I got this all right before we start. And we're going to have to make sure we got this right before we start. Oh boy. See, this is new. This is something that I'm doing new, starting today. It's supposed to be broadcasting on 3 different networks. I got to throw my shades on for this one. Let me make sure I got this all right before we start. Alright. And we're going to have to make sure we got this right. Alright, I think we're good. Now, like I said, this is new, so you're going to have to bear with me. You're going to have to bear with me just a little bit. I got to figure out how to get this on IG. Alright, so let me see, figure this out. Okay, seems that I screwed everything up. Because this was supposed to be broadcast live on Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube all at the same time. And whatever I did, it didn't come across correct. So my apologies, because now we're 15 minutes late. And I hate to be on CPT time. I really hate to be on CPT time, but I was trying to do something new today. And it cost a damn $100 for this particular broadcast for the software, and I expected everything to be in order, but it's not. So we're gonna stick here on Instagram, and I'm gonna figure it out after the show. All I'll figure it out after. But thank you guys for being here. All right. As said, technology is a bitch, man. Not only this, but when we going through the whole promo today with Google Ads, man, it's difficult because we're trying to get the ads running, but it'll get there. It's just a matter of working everything out right now. All right. Anyway, let's get to the show. The Mariana Show. This is where we not only, but primarily talk to our African brothers and sisters in order to build that bridge that was put there through the media. Through the media that gave us an identity of Black Americans in Africa, and in Africa gave us another false identity of our African brothers and sisters in Africa on the continent. So this platform is here to build that bridge that should have been built a long time ago. You know, when I remember when when we first moved back from Ghana, me and my wife at the time, went there after I got the visa and everything done. And once it was approved, I flew there. That was in October of, I want to say 2019, I believe. Yeah, I believe it was in 2019. Then we flew back here in February of 2020, right before COVID and all that hit. Then that same year, we wound up flying back to Ghana to escape some of the BS that was going on here with COVID and all that. But one thing that I did was, our first time coming here, didn't have a lot of money, didn't have a lot of anything, but we knew that we had a plan. And I don't know why we knew we had a plan. So with that plan, we understood where we was going to get to and the type of work that it was going to take to get there. But I remember we was living in the hood at the time for some months. We was living in the hood in North Philly, just renting a small place. And at that time, I wanted to make a chicken or turkey, whatever it was, and I wanted to cook some stuffing with it. So I went to the corner store in the hood, and I always look at everything. I look at dates, I look at all that when I'm buying something, unless I'm buying from like a major supermarket where I know that they take it seriously, because anything that's left expired on the shelf within 30 days they get fined $1,000 for. So it makes sense for them to continue to keep up on this. But I know that the corner stores in the hood don't do that. But I went to this corner store just to quickly grab some stuffing. And when I looked on the box, it was expired by over a year. A box of stuffing was expired by a year. Oh, I'm like, are you serious? I actually said to myself, I want to write a report to license and inspections on these people. But what I realized is that they do this on a regular, because the people in them communities don't really, they don't force upon it. They don't force upon the sellers to make sure everything is in priority, that it's a fresh date. They just take whatever's on the shelf. But when we moved to a better neighborhood, it didn't really take me to have to look at the expiration date, but I did. It was always a year or two, whatever it was, depending on the product, where you had a schedule where it was fresh. It was young. And in the relationship aspect, it's the same thing. A lot of people who are in the hood understand that they're only worth a particular value. But people in the middle, upper, and elite understand that they are priced at a higher value. It's similar to guys and girls, but it's different. It's different in this aspect. Men are valued based on their abilities to provide, protect, and direct. That's what they are. Men are not based off their beauty. Men are only based on their beauty when they're in high school or just coming out of high school. But after that, it's about what you do and what you're able to offer. And on the flip side with women, it's based off beauty and youth and fitness, femininity, the ability to listen to instruction. See, when you're young, you get away with a lot of things because you're dealing with other young people who don't know no better. But when you step in the adult world, for women, I would say it's at the age of 20 or 21. For men, it's at the age of 35 or 30 even. When you step into the realm of adulthood, everything changes. Everything changes. Your value, men have a market value. Women have a market value. Women market value are at its best when they're around the age of 21. They're still young, haven't had a lot of psychological damage through failed relationships. Even better more when they hold on to their virginity and pass it down to their husband and their husband only. Even more, just as much, equivalent when they don't have babies out of wedlock and they're able to only give that to their husbands. That's when a woman is at her highest value. Not to say that someone 30 years old or whatever can't find a husband. It's not to say that. It's to say that most women who have been through life, experience a lot of things, their standards get higher, but their value get lower. Meaning that you've been duped by this man, that man, and that man. And you get tired of the nonsense. And you're like, I don't want to deal with that anymore. I just want to deal with a particular type of man that I know he can do well for me. But you have to understand, if you waited 10 years after your prime years, your likelihood of finding that man drops significantly. But on the other side of the coin, if you want to say, men are not at their peak until the age of 35 and over. Most men do not reach their potential until the age of 35 and over. And that's when they begin to see their worth. See, men in their 20s don't know their worth because they don't know their way around the world. They're just struggling to get through and find a way. So they're going to dupe women any which way they can in order to get a lay, meaning sleep with them. But it's not until you're in your 30s, mid-30s and upper 30s to 40s or whatever, that you really see your worth as a man. That you really see that, okay, now I know myself. Now I know what I'm worth. Now I understand what it is that I can get. Men base what they can get off with their worth, meaning financially, and their ambition, and what they're putting out in the world. As a man, looks don't really get you anywhere in life. Looks, you could be a fuckboy all day, but looks will not get you anywhere. It's what you have to offer financially. See, a girl can like you when she in her teens. She could be in high school, high school and a mid-graduate or whatever. And she could find you attractive. She could deal with you. But those things tend to never last. Because she's normally dealing with people in that age group. And when ladies deal with people in that age group, they realize that those particular men or boys or males, whatever you want to call them, boys or males, are not really able to provide the type of lifestyle that they desire. So then what happens? They get 30. They realize that they wasted 10 years of their life on boys who really can't do anything, won't do anything. Most of the times are not willing to marry because most guys, when they're young, they get with girls who they know they don't want to marry, but they know that the sex is free. They know they could buy them a few things and the sex is free. And a lot of people, those who do have ambition, are worried about where they're going to be at the age of 35. So they don't want to be tied down to something that they're going to see themselves successful 10, 15 years later and say, oh, I got this woman that I chose when I wasn't successful, when I wasn't able to provide. And now I have to deal with this when I really want that. It happens every single day. Men who are either successful or productive, working towards that, understand that they want younger women. That's just how it is. Boys in their 20s realize that they can't provide for a younger woman. So they have to work the next 10, 15 years of their life to get some type of financial status in their life. So then they could go back and choose. But look at it. Those same men that you date when you're 20, he's 20, 22, 23. By the time he gets to where he want to be, he's 35 or above. You're 35 or above. He got to where he want to be now. He's working towards it. So he's looking at you like, I can go get something more younger, more youthful, more fresh, and do this all over again. Because we understand relationships. When you're in a relationship, everything is brand new, exciting, all these things. So a 35 and above man who has finally made something of himself usually gravitates towards those who are younger to build with them. Because you're 35, he's 35. Even if you have kids from the man, unmarried, he's still likely not to marry you. If a man has not married you within 30 days, the chances of him marrying you are very slim. I pulled this up. Let me see what I pulled up. I pulled up a few articles on the type of men who cheat and why they cheat. I call it polygamy, or I call it normality. But some people call it infidelity. A lot of people break up for that. I say it every time for this week. A lot of women say that all men are dogs, all men cheat, blah, 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 this and the other. The nature of a man is to reproduce with as many as he can, whom he could provide for. It was that way from the beginning. It was that way now. It was that way in decades and centuries ago. It hasn't changed. The only thing that has changed is the mindset of the women who think that, oh, I could be with this man. He's going to be with me for the rest of his life. And he's also up the top tier of men in this world who everybody wants. See, ladies have to understand that there has to be a trade-off. And before now, it wasn't such thing as a trade-off. It was just that this is how it works. A man who's able to provide chooses more. That is his reward. A man who is not able to, at best, his reward is one woman. Because that's all he can take care of. Sometimes not even that. But it's not the fault of every man that he's stuck in a certain situation. But it doesn't neglect or negate the fact of the matter that this is what it is. And this is how it's always been, how it always will be. Kings didn't have many wives and concubines because they was poor. They had it because they were rich. Men who live with one wife do it so because they have no other option for the most part. Take your man. If you're listening and you say, oh, well, my man has been faithful since the beginning for the last 30, 40, 50 years. Is he a top tier man? Top tier earner? Likely not. This has always been. When ladies start to understand this, they can make themselves more available to the type of men that they want. Decipher the type of life that they're going to have. It starts with you. Before we get to our guests, even before, I had plenty of women, even in the last week, as we started the show just 2 weeks ago, would say, well, this man lied to me, blah, blah, blah. It's up to you to discover what a man is truly about. Men are going to lie to get laid every single day of the week. It's always been. It's always going to be that way, remain that way. It's up to you as a lady to say, this man makes this, he says he has that education, he says he's doing this. It's up to you to find that evidence and say, hey, show me. Because the one thing about men, when we tell you that this is what we're doing and this is what we have, we're proudly, by our proud and ego, we want to throw it in your face and show it to you. Make sure that you can see it. So if your particular man is saying one thing but showing another, that's a red flag. Men who have what they say they have are quickly to throw it in your face and let you know that this is what I am and this is why I'm better than everyone else. This is why I'm better than the average man. Come take a look, investigate it, see who I am, so you could choose me and I could choose you for marriage. This is what men do. But men who hide everything that they say they about, it's because they don't have what they say they about. Men know within 30 days whether they will marry you. That's why you can have a relationship for 2, 3, 4 years, and then that man break off, whether you break it off or he break it off, and then you hear about it, he just met a girl and they was married within 3 or 6 months. That's because we already know from the day of meeting you. But I'm giving it 30 days from the day of meeting you. We know whether we want to marry you or not. Or we're just going to hold you over until we can find what it is that we're looking for. To see whether we're going to get to the success that we're striving for. And if we do get to that success, yes, we're going to break off and we're going to go and marry someone within just months of meeting them after we've been with you for many years. It happens every day. This is what we are about. So, the information is here, but it's up to you to act on it. Are you a wife that a man wants? Are you the type of wife that the type of man that you desire wants? And are you willing to go through the issues that he will bring and work it out and stay in your marriage to make sure that you obtain all the goals that you set forth in your life? Marriage is not easy. Marriage is a hard thing. There are ups and downs. There are negatives and positives. There are good times and bad times. See, a lot of ladies get infatuated with what they see on social media and books and magazines and movies and all that. Life is not about that. That's why they're called movies. That's why they're called stories. It's not realistic. It's just not. And then a lot of ladies go into these marriages when they're young and think that everything will be so beautiful. No, it doesn't work that way. You have to build on these things. You have to work towards these things. It's just what it is. All right, like I always do, I'm going to take my 30 seconds. And we got some requests in the building. So within 30 seconds, we're going to get to them, to our guests. And we're going to get the show going. All right, guys. All right, we're back. Yo, I'm so mad, man, because I was looking forward to this thing. To do this live thing on YouTube and Facebook, but we're gonna have to bear with it, and we're gonna work it out. I gotta work it out, so I get it. I'm the guy who figured it all out. We got a bunch of guests. All right, let's go with our first guest. Let's talk about it. Let's talk about it, man. Let's talk about it, people. Let's talk about it, ladies. Good evening.
Good evening.
Who am I speaking to?
Yvonne.
Yvonne.
Yeah,
From where?
Nigeria,
Where from?
Imo States.
All right. What you have on the subject?
Okay. Do your intro about your intro or the general topic for the week.
This is a thing for the week. This is Saturday. Today's the last day for this thing that we've been doing since Monday, which is cheating a deal breaker? What do you have on it?
Okay, I see cheating as a normal thing for guys, like for men, and I feel
Hold
like
up.
a
Repeat
lot.
that. I didn't hear you.
I said I see cheating as a normal thing for guys
Why is that?
because I feel we women we sweat a lot about this cheating stuff. We cannot do anything about it. A guy must always be a guy. He will cheat, even if he's so faithful and all loving and caring and all. But I feel he's still going to cheat, and there is nothing you can. The only thing we know how to do is to complain, cry. But the man will still cheat. He will still be a man. So I'm going to live with it.
We got a baby in the house.
Yes.
You a single mother?
No. She's
Huh?
my sister.
Okay. No, we're gonna do a episode. We're gonna do a whole thing week on single mothers and on the continent of Africa, but that's not now. I was just asking. All right. Knowing this. All right. What you say is cheating. See, there was a particular time in life that before biblical days, after biblical days, through all kingdoms on the earth, whether in Africa, China, Europe, wherever, what y'all call cheating was a normality, which was called, some people call it polygamy, and some people call it the way that mankind has populated the earth. When did it? Because even if you look at, do you have your mother and father still around?
Yes.
Do you know your great grandparents? Have they taught you anything about them? Your great grandfather?
No, I didn't meet them.
Your parents never taught you about your grandfather?
Just the normal discipline, like not the women aspect of the grandfather, just normal
Well, they should have.
discipline
They
and
should
all that.
have. But you do understand in generations previous that it was never called cheating, that men had wives or a wife and concubines, right?
Yes, concubines.
But during those days, everything flourished, and you got here through that. And through that, all these villages and towns flourished. And women were provided for, and men went out and worked for these women. Now today, you have it whereas everybody call it cheating, and then because of this westernization that came into Africa, now when y'all call it infidelity and y'all want to be divorced, and then y'all left with nothing. The man is raising another family, and then you got single mothers out here who got to struggle on their own and try to get married again. But for the most part, most men who are able to provide don't want to marry single mothers, especially in Africa.
Yes, that's
So
true.
when do you believe it became called cheating rather than polygamy to keep the towns and the villages and the society running as they normally have ran for many centuries?
Okay, I feel that cheating and polygamy, they are two different things. They are two different things. Maybe in those days, if you want to cheat or something, you like want to bring the woman inside the house, you want to get married to her, you want to make her known to your family and the public. But now they do it in a very, how will I put it? They're always hiding these things. Like they don't want their wife to find out. But this is not how it was then. Then it's so open. Your father can bring another woman those days and they'll make her the second wife. So I feel it's not called cheating then. Then it's polygamy or something. But now it's cheating because you are hiding it from your wife. You don't want to hurt her feelings and all that. So I just feel the men don't want that second wife. They are okay with their wives, but yet they are not satisfied with just her alone. But they don't want maybe a different family, different trouble. They just want it on a casual stuff. So I feel that's why it's called cheating, not polygamy.
All right. I hear you. And I'm not saying that you're wrong. But the thing is, if y'all would have kept y'all culture and your culture would have been intact. Wouldn't it never came down to men having to hide anything. It only came down to that because y'all started to take on other cultures and what they said. Y'all took on a lot of American culture, and then it became cheating. And the one thing about America, I'm American, so I understand this. One thing about America, we have the most broken home structure in all over the world.
Yes.
We have more broken homes than anybody on the face of the fucking earth.
Yes.
80% of children in Black America alone are born out of wedlock.
Yes.
Even when we do marry, 1 out of 4 Black Americans will marry. After that, it comes to white women and white men, which is 52%. We have 42%. So, with that said, the majority of all America don't marry. And when they do marry, it always ends up divorce. Nearly more than half the time end up in divorce because of infidelity. Because you're working against nature. We're working against nature. If men were not polygamous, you wouldn't be here and I wouldn't be here. You understand that?
Yes, that's true.
And I say this because,
no.
go ahead.
I, for instance, now, my dad he got married to just my mom. I'm not from that polygamous in nature kind of man. No. Just faithful to one woman, and that was why I came into being. But there are some people like those that have stepbrothers and all. Whereas for me, it's just from my legit marriage. My mom and my dad all married. They are still together. I'm not nobody's stepsister or whatever.
You say your dad was married to one wife.
Yes.
How long were they married?
Like 20-something years. I don't know.
Now you're thinking on 20-something years, your father never had any other woman. You really believe that?
I would say I believe that. That's what I'm saying. It's called cheating because they always tend to hide it. So I don't know.
All right, that's true. But like I said, it goes back to what I just stated already in the first place.
Yeah.
Now, about you. Let me ask you a few questions. Let me get your name again.
Yvonne.
Yanni, right?
Yvonne.
Yvonne. All right, Yvonne. How old are you?
I'm 22.
22.
Yes.
How many failed relationships so far?
3 relationships. Let's say 3.
3.
It's not like they cheated on me or just
I didn't ask you that. I asked you how many failed relationships.
3.
Which one lasted the longest?
My first.
All right. Which was when you was what? 17, 16?
18.
How long did that last?
Like 7 months.
So your longest relationship was 7 months.
Yes.
So what was the shortest one?
Shortest 3 months.
You broke it off or he broke it off?
I broke it off.
For what reason?
Not on grounds of cheating. I've never been cheated on before. Like the one I can see, like, okay, you catch him cheating. No. Just like
Listen, Yvonne, I didn't ask you have you ever been cheated on yet. I didn't say that. I asked you one specific question. See, this is what ladies do. When we men ask you a question, y'all go into everything else instead of just asking a question.
Okay.
Who broke it off?
I.
All right, that's it. You broke it off. Then we go into the question, why? Don't tell me why you did not. Tell me why you did.
Lack of communication. I just felt it was not enough. Like, it's not what I really want. You understand?
It means that he had other girls, that he was dealing with somebody else. That's what you call lack of communication. Don't say you ain't never been cheated on. A man who's only with one woman, that's the one woman he with, he communicates more so than anything. If a man, a boy, or whatever it is, he calls you every day, he texts you every day, he does everything to see you. If he's not communicating with you, that means that he has someone else who is more of a priority. Why y'all don't see that?
I don't know. Okay, fine. That's the part where I say the cheating is always because they're hiding. It's not the one you see physically.
So you have been cheated on. Don't say that, oh, I've never been cheated on. You have been. You just don't want to see it or admit it. That's 2 different things. Say I didn't see it, but more than likely he's been doing that. because he's not communicating with you for a reason. Do people stop communicating with people that they want to be with every day?
No.
Huh?
You always want to communicate with someone you want to be with. That's
Exactly. So that's just what it is. You don't see a lot of y'all ladies getting in your pride these days, like, oh, I'm proud, nobody done this. Yo, we men, we get our hearts broken all the time. Every man been through heartbreak, no matter who they are. We've been through heartbreak. But the thing is, we handle it different than y'all do. This is why it's made for a woman to be with one man. And it's not for a man. A man can handle psychological damage and continue on and progress and be ambitious. Matter of fact, if you really want to go there, most men become more ambitious after they get their heart broken. Because they want to show, you know what? You left a good thing. Now, fuck you. This is what you missed out on. It's true. And you know it to be true.
and we women like to do kind of things too. Like if you break up with us, we would like to show you that okay, we can be with someone more better. That kind of competition.
How? But how?
I don't know, because
Y'all can't advance financially the way that we can.
I always do that thing. Like if I break up with you, I want to like be with someone more better, and I want you to see it. I want to show it to you, and then I might end up with the wrong person, right? Trying to do that kind of thing. So maybe that's why I feel mine doesn't really last, because you want to show him that okay, we've moved on. So I don't know, somehow.
All right. If your boyfriend looked at you, I'm not even going to give you today. I'm going to give you a whole year from now. From today, we moving on. We're going to hop in. You ever seen Back to the Future?
No.
All right. We're going to do the opposite. We're going to hop in Marty McFly car. I forget his name. Michael K. Fox, whatever it is. People know what I'm talking about. In the movie, what he would do, he would hop in his car, and he was working with this white professor. He would hop in the car, and they would go through this like quantum physics beam or whatever, and they would go back into the past to try to fix what was broken in the future, which they believe. So we're going to do the opposite. We're going to hop in this car. We're going to do all these quantum physics and everything, and we're going to shoot forward 1 year from now. 1 year from now, your exes are going to look at you and say, damn, Yvonne, I wish I would have stayed with her, because Yvonne now is what?
Yvonne is better. Like Yvonne is with someone better. In fact, she's better on her own. She's beautiful.
I don't want general words. I want specifics.
Okay.
Did Yvonne go out and become an engineer and started making $100,000 a year and got the figure that she wanted? Her natural hair was beautiful, and her eyes were sparkling, and every man in the world wanted her. I mean, I want specifics.
Okay. Because Yvonne is famous. Because I want to be famous. Very, very famous.
That means that what you said to me, not to be mean or anything, but what you're saying to me is that there's no difference from now than a year from now that your exes could look at and say, you know what, I regret leaving her. It's just not.
Why? Why do you say so?
Because you haven't said so. You haven't said anything.
I want to be famous. I'm always this very quiet, very, very shy kind of person.
You was with that when you was with them, were you not?
Yes. Yes.
All right then. So nothing has changed. But you know what can change? You can change your outcome by making adjustments with yourself right now to better your outcome in the future. But you need to know how to. And from what I'm hearing right now, you don't even know how to.
Yvonne. Interested in
Yvonne.
Yes.
Do you want to be married?
Yes, I want to be married.
Do you want to have kids?
Yes, I want to have kids.
How many?
3.
Boys or girls?
2 boys, 1 girl.
You don't control that. God controls that. So why are you telling it?
Because that's what I just feel like. Why not?
You don't control whether you have a boy or girl. Your whole thing should be humble and say, if God was so blessed me with 3 children, I will be in awe. That's all you should be saying.
Okay.
Are you a believer in God?
Yes, I am.
So you should be humble enough to know these things. You don't go dictate to God, oh, give me this, give me that. Be humble. Say, God, if you only will give me even this, I will be glad. Now let's talk about your husband. How tall are you?
5 feet.
5 foot what?
5 feet, like 5.6, I think.
5'6".
Yeah.
How much do you weigh, Elon?
63.
63. All right. You know what, man? This is going to be the last day that I do this because I'm going to have a chart now. I promise you guys, starting Monday, I'm going to have a chart already ready because this KG stuff with this European mess, you said 60 or 62?
63.
Oh, 63. Oh, 63. KG. All right. So you're 5'6", 138 pounds. Not bad. You could, if you want to have 3 kids, in all likelihood, I would suggest you get down to about 60 to 58 kg. Because you know when you have a kid, you're supposed to count 10 pounds for every kid that you're going to gain. So if you're 140 pounds now and you want 3 kids, you go up to 140, 150, 160. And if you go to 160, let me do this real quick. You're talking about close to 75 kg. You don't want to be 75 kg, do you?
No, that's too big.
All right, but if you're talking about 3 kids, you're supposed to give at least 10 pounds per kid, meaning that if you want to stay down, if you want to be 100, if you want to be at 63 kg, that means you have to go lose equivalent of 10 pounds, which is 4.5 kg. So before you have your kids, you need to lose approximately 15 kg.
So I need to be about 40 something. Like
Huh?
40. I need to be about 48 kg before I get married.
All right, so you got work to do then. What work are you doing to get to 48?
Maybe exercise, jog, I don't know. Reduce my food intake.
You can't tell me you don't know. I asked you a question. All right, she out of here. Let's see if we get her back. Anyway, guys, this is what we're talking about. We want to get our ladies prepared for marriage. It doesn't matter with who. We need to get our ladies prepared so that we can not only marry, but we can stay in our marriages. That's what this is about. It's about staying inside of your marriage. All right, I think it was her, if I'm not sure. Let's go back. Let's find out. All right, network. Let's see, you there?
Yeah, I'm back.
All right, network. So what I was asking you, what are you doing? Don't tell me that if you say, well, I don't know means you're not doing anything. The whole thing for this platform is not just Africans marrying to Black Americans. You can marry an African. Doesn't matter as long as it stays Black. That's all I care about. And if you decide to go elsewhere, that's fine. But I still want the best outcome from my Black people. What are you doing? Because by your speech, you're not really doing anything to drop down to 48 kg.
For now, I'm not doing anything.
You're 22, right?
Yes.
You know what happens from 22 on? I'm going to explain this to you. From 22 you on, when you're in your 20s, when you're around the age of 19, 20, most people get their identity, most people get their discipline from those ages. Men do it differently, but I'm just talking about women right now. Whatever you're doing at 19 and 20, in all likelihood, you're going to be consistent with that throughout your life. So at the age of 22, you're already late on bringing about your own discipline. The longer you wait, the harder it is. Then the harder it is, you find yourself at 30. When you find yourself at 30, 35, 40, what happens? You're extremely past the weight that you want to be to attract a man. And what happens after that? One or two things happen. You even don't get married. And if you do get married, it's to a man who is not able to provide in a way that you want for 3 children. Do you get that?
Yes, I get to.
You ladies at the age of 21 and 22, there's no excuse for you not having your weight in order. You're not 40 with 3 kids. You're 22 with no kids. You have no excuse. And if you want to attract the type of man that you want, you have to have discipline. You know well that men choose based on looks first. You know that.
Yeah.
2 things about men. The ladies that we want to sleep with, based off looks. Men are going to sleep with you every day of the week. Men, we would sleep with damn near anything. Beautiful, mid, or upper. Doesn't matter. Or low. We sleep with everything when we're younger. That's what we do as men. We don't have a sense of quality until we get in our mid-30s. Because in our mid-30s is when we start to think about marriage and our legacy. So therefore, if you know that men, no matter if they're younger or older, look at looks. And you might be a quality woman, quality young lady, that you have a lot of good qualities to you. But the boys that you're messing with don't really care about that. The only ones who are going to care about that are the men who are in their mid-30s and up. But first, they have to be attracted by your beauty on an hour. You get me?
Yes, I get to.
So don't take this conversation as somebody who's criticizing you in a negative way. Take it that from someone who really wants to see his people do well in life. You get me?
Yes, I do.
All right. Back to the subject. You said you left your last man because of communication. I already explained that. The one who lasted 7 months, was it the same reason for lack of communication?
No, it was my fault. I was not like contented with what it could offer at that point.
Speak louder. I can't hear you.
I said I was not contented with what he could offer then. So I left.
How old was he?
Okay, I was 18. I think it was 22. I think it was 22.
Tell me, what can a 22-year-old man offer you? What can a 22-year-old man possibly offer a woman besides dick and look?
We were students, so it was just like a random feeling. I was thinking, I don't know, I was thinking very rational and wild.
So then it took you 7 months to realize that this man being 22 can't offer me anything.
I just gained admission to school, so I was just like testing the waters then. So it took me 7 months, yes.
And how long even though it don't matter, how long did the second one last? A month?
No, second one. Okay, second one. I don't know. Maybe 5. I can't remember.
All right, we got 7, 5, and 3, I think you said, or whatever. All right, so 3 failed relationships at the age of 22. Fine, that's dandy. Before we go into these questions about your possible outcome, are you willing, if a man came to you, are you willing to really dedicate yourself to your ability to get yourself at the 48 kg that you desire?
48 kg. That's a lot of work, bro. I'll try.
I said, if a man that you desire comes along to be able to take care of you and 3 kids, yes, would you be willing to give it your all to get down to 48 kg before you have a child?
Yes, I will.
All right, you say that now. I hope it's true. I don't read minds. Only God read minds and hearts. So outside of that, I can't. All right, so let's get to it. About cheating. Deal breaker, yes or no?
Yes.
Okay. You're confusing me because you said all men cheat and you can't avoid it. Then you say yes is a deal breaker. Which one is it?
So, I was trying to say that all men cheat, but it's a deal breaker still. All men cheat is not something that we can avoid or something that we can paint, but it's a deal breaker still.
So you're saying that you're never going to be married and you're just going to live life single and be to yourself for the rest of your life, right?
I'm going to be married, but I just have to accept the fact that all men cheat, even maybe
So then
my
it's not a
boyfriend.
deal breaker.
It's a deal breaker because it will get to a point where it will get me mad or something, or I can't take it anymore. I don't know if I'm
You're,
making any sense.
you're
But
not making any sense. You're not making any sense. If it's a deal breaker and you're willing to get married and there's a deal breaker, so you're saying you get married in order to get divorced. That's what you're saying. I'm going to marry so I could get divorced because he's going to cheat.
no,
Doesn't make sense.
like for me, I don't know how to put it, but I cannot just get divorced because maybe he's cheating on me. I know he's cheating on me, but the part that can make me get divorced there is if like I know he's with like he's starting up another family, like this like a family.
All right,
So
we're going to get to that. Before the end of this conversation, we're going to get to that. I'm asking one question. Is it a deal breaker? You're confusing. You're saying yes, no, yes, no, yes, no. That's what I'm asking.
yes,
We're going to
it's
get
a
to the.
deal breaker.
All right. So
Yes, it's
basically,
a deal breaker.
you're never going to have a successful marriage, is what you're saying.
I'm going to have a successful marriage. I'm going to
You
have a very
can't because you just
successful.
said it's a deal breaker.
I feel a lot of Nigerians are pretenders. They know these things, but they want to. Everyone wants to get married. I want to get married. Okay, now you get married and you're trying to convince yourself that your husband does not cheat just because you don't want to get divorced. I don't understand. I'm not saying I want to get divorced, but some situations I know that this man is cheating on me. But guy, I don't want
All
to.
right. You know what? I'm going to help you out. I'm going to help you figure this out. I right now am going to help you figure this out so you can know whether you have a yes or no because you say yes and then you say no. I'm still going to say married to like you're all over the place. You don't have one answer. So you said you want to be married with 3 kids.
Yes,
Does he have to be Nigerian or he just have to be black?
just black.
So as long as he's black, you're fine, right?
Yes, I'm fine.
So it could be a black American or whoever, right? UK, whatever.
Yes, black. As long as it's
All right.
black.
What do you do for a living?
What do I do for a living? I'm a student. I don't do anything for a living now.
So you're just is your mother and father paying for it?
I didn't get that.
Is your mother and father paying for your student fees?
Yes.
All right. So therefore, you don't have any work history, 3 failed relationships. All right. So
Why are you saying
what I
three
do
faith?
here, hey, listen, what I do here, I talk about 3 different types out of 4 men in Black America. And I talk about this for a specific reason that a lot of Black American men, just like me, prefer to be married to an African than a Black American because of the feminist movement, because of a lot of Black American women decided since the previous generation to go out and get their education. And by the time they get their education, they're 35 and 40, and they can't get the type of men that they desire, because the type of men they desire are the men who want nothing but young women. That's just how it is, how it always been, the same way in Nigeria, that men who are successful want younger women. Won't ever change in the world. Has not changed since the days of Adam and Eve, will never change. That's just how it is. So let's stick with this. I talk about 4 different types. The lower class individual, which is the people that are not going to be on this platform. They are the people who can't afford to do anything for themselves, let alone do anything for a family. Let's forget about that. We're going to talk about the middle, upper, and elite. For you, you need to get some things situated with yourself. Let's mix out the upper, let's mix out the elite. Middle class individual, Black American man. What middle class means is that middle class man is able to afford a nice house and a nice community with a nice car and have his kids go to school, get educated, even if it's public school. Are you willing to work full-time or part-time?
Full time.
Therefore, you come, he takes you, you work full-time, he makes 45, you make 35. That's close to 100,000 a year. Y'all could live nicely off that. Y'all could take vacations. Let her network come back. As I was saying, if you work full time, you have 3 kids. How are you going to work full time with 3 kids? Are you willing to go to a daycare? Let me see. All right, she got network issues. So let me see. Hold on, everybody else. So give it a second. Let her get back in here. But we getting back to it. But we're definitely getting back to it. And ultimately, I want her to answer the last question, which is going to determine what she really wants and what she really will accept. Because a lot of women will say one thing, then when you get to it, the meat and potatoes, then they say a second thing. And it's like, this is women. This is who they are. And as men, we have to understand this so that we can always work with them. And this is why men are in the position that they are supposed to be in. This is why we need men who are directors who can instruct their homes, to lead their homes. We don't need men that's running rampant, doing everything, fucking every little single Tom, Dick, and Harry, and being Pookie and Ray Ray. We don't need that. It doesn't benefit us at all. Like, even with Mine's thing coming fully competent of everything that I wanted her to be, but I had to direct her and explain it and show her. And she becomes more and more inclusive in my culture, and just as well in, the ebb and flows of life evermore. But that's what men are here for. That's what men should be here for anyway. But either way, that's just how it is. Let me see something.